Hey, welcome to day 2 of 21 Days of Faith, Hope, and Love. This week, we're focusing on faith. And sometimes we're surprised when we encounter trials, and we may even think that adversities are the result of weak faith. But that's not what Scripture teaches us. In fact, Jesus assured his disciples that we would have trouble in this life, and that some of our troubles would even be the direct result of placing our trust in God. So where our faith is being challenged, where hardships are taking place, is not always the result of weak faith, but it is a moment for us to choose how we will respond in faith. Will we become weaker, or will we allow the hardship to cause us to become stronger in our faith? Remember, faith is abiding trust in God's promises and character. So when hardships come, it puts our trust in God's promises to the test. We will either lean into greater trust and withstand the pressure, or we will give in and take the easy road out. Here's the way the Message translates today's verse. Consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. For you know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so you become mature and well-developed, not deficient in any way. I was just talking with a girl in her mid to late 20s today, and she was celebrating her engagement that happened 6 days ago. And she was commenting on how grateful she was that her and her fiance were following God's plan for relationships, that they were doing it his way. She said that she feels like she's reaping a reward in her relationship now because she has trusted God during her singlehood. She was patient, she remained pure, and now there are no regrets. She was celebrating that her single life had been a test of her faith. Would she trust God in his wisdom on purity and finding a man whose life was centered on Jesus, or would she trust a cultural norm of just being in a relationship for the sake of having a boyfriend, perhaps even compromising standards of purity and just holding out for a great guy? But she did what our second verse says to do today. She was on guard. She was aware of the assaults on her trust in God's promises and stood firm in her faith that God's way was best. Now that always takes courage and strength, but those things will be found when we lean into him and trust, even when it feels like our faith is being attacked on all sides. So here we are in a season of great adversity. And the reality is that even without COVID-19, there were likely already things testing your faith. So here's the application for today. It is just to do this, to be on guard, to maybe take the time to name at least one area where your faith is under assault. This could be anything that is causing you to question your trust in God and his promises. What is assaulting your faith? Job loss, financial insecurity, fear about the future of our country, fear of COVID, or even the reality of something or someone you've lost because of COVID. Cultural pressure to give in on something that you know is outside of Jesus' example for your life. Is it singleness? Is it a troubled marriage? Loneliness? An addiction? Is there something that is attacking your faith? Something that is causing you to lack trust in God's ability and promise? The first step is to name where that attack is taking place. To be aware or alert that it isn't just a physical battle you're facing, it is a spiritual attack with spiritual implications. Now, tomorrow we will do more with this, but for today, just consider where your faith is under assault. Maybe this is something that you'll pray and ask God to reveal to you, or maybe it is readily obvious to you. Either way, name it and acknowledge it on paper or a note page in your phone, and then in conversation with God. Confession is simply to agree with God. So confess or agree with God that this thing, this adversity or hardship, is putting pressure on your trust in him. This is an important first step to stronger faith.